All right, Hollywood history. You ready for us? We're going deep on Adrien Brody's second Oscar win for Best Actor.
Yeah, pretty big deal.
For The Brutalist, a film that I'm already kind of obsessed with, just based on what I've read so far.
Yeah, and the film's supposed to be huge E, like 3.5 hours long.
Oh, wow.
Shot in something called VistaVision.
Okay, VistaVision.
Spanning decades, so...
So wait, this isn't just a regular movie. This is like...
It's an epic, that's for sure.
An epic.
But monumental also describes Brody's career now, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's one of only 11 men to ever win 2 Oscars for Best Actor.
Wow. That's crazy.
And it's been 22 years since his first win for The Pianist.
Oh, wow. So this is like a...
Yeah, he's had quite the journey.
A big moment.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so backing up for a sec. VistaVision. For those of us who don't know all the fancy film terms,
Right.
What is that?
Imagine, like the crystallest, most vibrant picture you've ever seen,
Okay.
where you feel like you could just step right into the scene.
Oh, wow.
That's VistaVision. It's a widescreen film format from way back in the 50s.
Oh, wow.
Known for this stunning image quality, like way ahead of its time.
Oh, so they're really going all out on the visuals here.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of going all out, Brody's acceptance speech, I mean, we're basing this whole deep dive on this Associated Press article,
Right?
and it really seems like he used his time to say something big.
It's interesting, you know, he's obviously reveling in this huge award, surrounded by all the Hollywood glitz and glamour,
Yeah, totally.
but he's also using his platform to talk about like really serious stuff. Things like the trauma of war, systematic oppression.
Yeah, it's not your typical thank you speech.
Not at all.
He even specifically called out anti-Semitism and racism, right?
He did, yeah, he got very specific.
Yeah, so he's not shying away from the tough stuff. And then he gets really personal, talking about his partner, Georgina Chapman,
Oh, yeah.
and her children, talking about how strong they've been through, difficult times and her support for him.
Yeah, that part was really moving.
It felt very raw and honest.
Totally. It's like a reminder that even at the Oscars, with all the fancy stuff,
Yeah.
it's still about real people and their stories of strength and love and all the complicated stuff life throws at us.
Right, exactly. Okay, so we've got this epic film, a historic win, a speech that's got everyone talking. But let's get to the movie itself. What's The Brutalist actually about?
So it follows this Hungarian architect who escapes the Holocaust,
Wow.
comes to America, wants to build a new life, pursue his artistic dreams, but over 30 years, he hits all these roadblocks, challenges to his integrity. The whole American dream thing kind of blows up at his face.
30 years. Okay, this isn't just a movie. This is like a saga.
It really is,
Right.
packed into 3.5 hours.
No wonder it's so long. But what's the message? Like, what's the takeaway for the audience?
It really seems to be about shared responsibility, especially in the face of suffering and injustice.
Right.
Like, it makes you think about how what we do, or even what we don't do, affects everyone else. Super relevant today, with all the division and polarization happening.
So it's not just a historical drama. It's connecting to what's going on right now.
Exactly. And that's kind of what Brody was talking about in his speech, too, like looking inward and taking action.
Oh, that's a good point. They're both kind of saying the same thing in a way.
Yeah, they are. And think about the characters he picks, both in The Brutalist and The Pianist, his first Oscar-winning role.
Yeah, they're both Jewish artists.
Right, both dealing with these incredibly difficult historical periods.
Huh. Yeah, there's definitely a theme there. What do you think draws him to these kinds of roles?
That's a really good question. And it might just help us understand his speech better, too.
Right, yeah. Like, what's the connection?
If we look closer at the roles he chooses and how he uses his platform.
It almost feels like a statement, right? Not just about his career, but about art itself.
Totally. And that makes you wonder, how far does The Brutalist go? Is it just reflecting what's happening or like suggesting how we can make things better?
That's a great point. But, we keep praising the movie, and Brody is The Brutalist actually any good? 3.5 hours is a long time, even with all the fancy VistaVision stuff. Could it be all style and no substance?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. The critics are already divided.
Oh, really?
Some love it, praising the ambition, the emotional depth.
Okay.
Others say it's overblown, melodramatic.
So even with Brody's win, it's not a guaranteed masterpiece.
No, it's definitely a movie that demands your attention.
Yeah.
But maybe not for everyone.
And that's okay, right. I mean, art's subjective.
Absolutely. And that's what makes these conversations so interesting, right?
You got that right. So tell me more. What are the critics saying specifically? What are they loving and hating about The Brutalist?
Well, those who love the film point to, well, those who love the film, they're pointing to Brody's performance.
Oh, okay.
They're saying it's like a career-defining role for him.
Really?
Like he just nails the architect's inner turmoil. But also his resilience. And they say he does it with, like, heartbreaking authenticity.
I could see that.
And then, of course, they love the visuals.
Yeah.
How they use VistaVision to show the American landscape, but also those small moments of human connection.
That makes sense. Brody's always been known for bringing the intensity
Right.
and the emotion and the VistaVision from what you've described.
Yeah,
It just seems perfect for this kind of story.
it really does.
Okay, but what about the critics who aren't so impressed? What are they saying?
A lot of them, they find the pacing a bit slow.
Okay.
They think those 3.5 hours could have been trimmed down without losing anything important.
Okay.
And some feel like the message about shared responsibility, even though it's relevant, it gets a bit too preachy.
Yeah. It's a tough balance, right? Making a point without hitting people over the head with it.
Yeah, definitely.
And, thinking back to Brody's speech,
Yeah,
he talked a lot about perspective.
he did.
Do you think the film offers a new perspective on shared responsibility, or is it kind of rehashing old ideas?
That's a good question. I think it tries to be nuanced by showing how individual choices, like they ripple outward, affecting not just the main character, but everyone around him.
Yeah.
It's not just about, like, big heroic acts, but also those small everyday things
Right.
that we do or don't do.
Those things add up.
Exactly. They kind of make up our reality altogether.
That's interesting because it connects back to what you were saying about the film showing both the big picture and the personal stuff.
Right.
It sounds like it's trying to link those two scales together.
Exactly. Showing how individual stories, like they're all part of history.
Yeah, I get that. It's more than just a historical drama then.
It is. It makes you think about your own choices, how they're contributing to the world we're all making.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'm putting The Brutalist on my watch list.
Yes.
Even if it takes me the whole night to watch it.
It's worth it.
But before we wrap up
Yeah.
Brody's career, we talked about the themes connecting The Brutalist and The Pianist. But he's done other stuff too, right? Does he always go for these serious historical dramas?
Well, that's what makes him so interesting. He has this range.
Really?
Yeah, he's done these intense historical films, sure,
Okay.
but he's also shown he can do, like, anything. Remember Summer of Sam?
Yeah.
Totally different. And then even comedy. The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, right. I forgot he was in that.
He's constantly pushing himself, trying new things.
Yeah. So he's not afraid to experiment, take risks.
Not at all.
So that makes his choice to do The Brutalist even more interesting.
It does.
A big commitment, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All that time, the emotional heavy lifting.
It shows you how passionate he is about these stories.
Yeah.
And using his position to explore important themes.
And maybe even how his own perspective has changed, He's been around a while,
Right.
seen the ups and downs of Hollywood. Now he wins the second Oscar for a movie so rooted in history, with all these complex social issues.
It's a powerful statement.
Yeah, it's like he's saying art can be more than just entertainment.
Right. It can spark these important conversations.
Exactly. So it's not just about Brody's career.
Right.
It's about the role of art itself.
And that raises a really big question for all of us, the audience.
What's that?
How do we respond to this? Do we just watch The Brutalist for fun?
Yeah.
Or do we actually engage with what it's saying, let it challenge our thinking, even inspire us to act?
Wow, that's deep. And it gets to the heart of what we're trying to do with this deep dive.
Totally.
We're not just summarizing information. We're wrestling with the ideas, the questions, the implications of it all.
Exactly. Connecting the dots, seeing the bigger picture,
Yeah.
understanding how these stories, they shape our understanding of the world.
So what does all this tell us about Adrien Brody, the artist, the man behind the awards?
Well, I think it shows us someone who's really engaged with the world. Someone who wants to use his position to challenge things,
Yeah.
start conversations. He's not just an actor, he's a storyteller
Yeah.
who understands how art can move us, make us think, and make us better people.
And maybe, just maybe, that's what he's trying to do with The Brutalist.
Maybe so.
It's not just about this architect chasing the American dream.
Right.
It's about all of us chasing a better world where we recognize our shared responsibility and work to make a more inclusive, compassionate society.
That's a great way to put it. And it brings us right back to Brody's speech.
Yeah.
His call for a world without Anti-Semitism, racism, all forms of oppression.
It's a powerful message.
It is. And it goes beyond the film itself. It's for all of us.
It really does. And it leaves us with a final question to think about. So, knowing all of this about Brody and the Brutalist, what do you think? Is he making a statement by picking this film? Or is it just, another role for him?
It's tough to imagine someone like Brody, with all his success, picking a film just because it's fun, Especially now with the timing of this win and what the movie's all about. It feels like he's trying to, live his values. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've made it in Hollywood, but now I want to use this moment to do something more.
Right, exactly. He wants to shine a light on stories that matter to him.
Yeah, stories that maybe reflect his own experiences, too.
Exactly. And by choosing The Brutalist, with all its heavy themes, the historical stuff, the trauma,
yeah,
he's kind of forcing us to think about these things, too.
Right, he's not letting us off easy.
Nope. It's a bold move, that's for sure. And it shows you how much he cares about, actually using his art to change things.
Yeah. And it makes you think about how the role of the artist is changing too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like in the old days, artists were just there to entertain.
Right.
But now it feels like more and more of them are using their platform to talk about important issues.
Definitely. They're challenging the way things are, speaking out about stuff beyond just, their art.
Yeah, and that's important, right?
It's huge. Art can break down barriers, get to you on this emotional level, make you think about the world in a whole new way.
Totally. So when artists talk about social issues, they're not just performing, they're being activists, in a way.
Exactly. They're using their creativity to start conversations, to make a difference.
Hey, we're not just here to sing or dance or act. We're here to make you think, to feel, to question things.
You got it. And that's what makes Brody's wins so powerful. It shows how art can push boundaries, start dialogues, and inspire us to build a better world, a fairer world.
Wow, I've got to admit, this whole deep dive has really changed my view of things. I started out just kind of curious about Brody's win.
Yeah.
But now I actually want to see The Brutalist. Really think about the messages behind it.
You should. It's a movie that sticks with you.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll get you thinking about your own role and making things better, too.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us as we explored Adrien Brody's Oscar win and The Brutalist and how art can connect with history and social issues and all of that.
It's been great. And remember, art isn't just about beauty or entertainment.
Right.
It's about making us think and feel and connect with each other on a deeper level.
Perfectly said. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep talking about the things that matter.